The South China Sea, a vital crossroads for global trade with an annual value approaching trillions, emerges as a geopolitical flashpoint where economic interests intersect with territorial disputes. This strategic waterway facilitates 1/3 of the world's trade and the transit of millions of barrels of oil daily. Contested by nations including China, Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Brunei. The region is marked by China's expansive new 10-line claim covering over 80% of the sea. Contentious claim, coupled with aggressive island-building initiatives, raises concerns about militarization, injecting complexity into the geopolitical landscape. Beyond the geopolitical maneuvers, the South China Sea holds broader significance, impacting the livelihoods of millions. Overfishing and territorial disputes pose threats to the food security of those relying on its resources. The unresolved dominance in the region entails potential consequences such as military conflict, trade disruptions, and environmental degradation. Unregulated resource extraction and militarization further endanger the ecosystem, underscoring the interconnectedness of geopolitical, economic, and environmental challenges. The intricate web of territorial claims featuring China's audacious new 10-line claim faces opposition for its lack of legal foundation. With rival claims from neighboring nations, legal ambiguities, and the active role of the United States in asserting freedom of navigation, a multifaceted approach, including diplomacy and international cooperation, is crucial to navigate this complex scenario. This collective effort is not only regional, but resonates as a necessity for a peaceful and sustainable global future. The South China Sea stands as a geopolitical flashpoint, with China's new 10-line encapsulating roughly 80% of this crucial waterway. Dating back to Chinese maps in 1947, the line encompasses the Paracel and Spratly Islands, wielding influence over resource-rich waters and disputed reefs. The lack of a precise legal basis for this claim raises international skepticism. China relies on historical references and notions of historic rights to assert near-absolute sovereignty over resources and navigation, directly conflicting with the territorial claims of neighboring nations like Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, and Brunei. The contentious nature of this claim is further exacerbated by China's military actions, evident in island-building endeavors, military exercises, and assertive patrols, fueling concerns about potential militarization in the region. Economic dependencies further entangle the situation, with approximately 70% of China's imports passing through the South China Sea, highlighting its indispensable role in China's economic stability. The extensive operations of China's fishing fleets in disputed waters compound tensions, leading to clashes with Southeast Asian fishermen. Despite a landmark 2016 International Tribunal ruling in Hague, which dismissed the 9-line's legal basis, tensions persist, as illustrated by historical standoffs. China's 350 vessels, including submarines and aircraft carriers, allows it greater control over contested waters and project its force within the region. Extensive island-building initiatives and militarization further amplify concerns about the South China Sea's potential militarization. On the economic front, China's status as the world's second-largest economy and its Belt and Road Initiative contribute to shaping the economic landscape of Southeast Asia.
ASEAN has become the biggest trading partner of China. ASEAN has been greatly connected with China.
This initiative creates economic dependencies and potential leverage over partner nations. The pursuit of potential oil and gas reserves adds more competition and tension. China's economic influence, including control over trade routes and resource prices, establishes an asymmetrical power dynamic, potentially disadvantaging smaller claimant nations. The impact is evident in disputes like the Scarborough Shoal, where China's control restricts access, adversely affecting local livelihoods. Critics also highlight the risk of debt trap diplomacy, as China's economic initiatives may lead to financial dependence and grant political leverage over indebted nations in the region. Southeast Asian nations such as Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei deftly choreograph a response to China's assertive presence. Vietnam, marked by the scars of the 1974 Paracel Islands conflict, combines historical claims with a diplomatic balancing act, actively pushing for a binding code of conduct based on the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, while carefully managing economic ties with China.
Đã và đang thể hiện trách nhiệm, nước lớn, đảng lớn, sức hút và vai trò dẫn dắt của Trung Quốc đối với hòa bình,
and cultivating a subtle security alliance with the United States. Similarly, the Philippines strategically maneuvers on a diplomatic tightrope, having secured a landmark legal victory against China's 9-line claim in 2016. Balancing its strategic alliance with the United States and economic ties to China, the Philippines navigates the complexities of territorial claims in the resource-rich Spratly Islands and Scarborough Shoal. Meanwhile, Malaysia adopts a pragmatic approach, emphasizing regional cooperation and participating in ASEAN initiatives to maintain stability and territorial integrity.
Formative period of ASEAN was to emphasize the need of independence, the need of neutrality, particularly during the Cold War period, to avoid the tension. And that general position continues. We don't want the region to be a base for military competition.
Simultaneously, Brunei voices support for a rules-based approach, balancing its low-key claims in the Spratly Islands with economic interests tied to valuable gas reserves. Southeast Asian nations are not merely relying on legal arguments, but are crafting strategies with economic diversification to counterbalance China's dominance in the South China Sea. Leveraging UNCLOS as a legal shield, these nations challenge China's expansive claims, exemplified by the Philippines' landmark 2016 arbitration case.
The Philippines strongly affirms its respect for this milestone decision as an important contribution to ongoing efforts in addressing disputes in the South China Sea.
Utilizing tourism as a soft power tool, these nations showcase coastal beauty, promoting sovereignty, and creating alternative economic opportunities. Despite challenges like internal divisions within ASEAN, China's economic leverage, and the risk of military escalation, Southeast Asian nations exhibit resilience, resourcefulness, and a commitment to international law. In the South China Sea, Taiwan is a significant player, and it asserts historical claims over the Spratly and Paracel Islands that mirror China's expansive new 10-line. While Taiwan is not a signatory to the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, it draws on customary international law and its long-standing regional presence to reinforce its territorial assertions. Despite lacking formal diplomatic relations, Taiwan engages in discreet but meaningful cooperation, including joint Coast Guard exercises and intelligence sharing. The alignment with Southeast Asian nations, combined with the crucial factor of the United States, serves as a counterbalance to China's military dominance. However, Taiwan faces the challenge of managing Chinese opposition and potential efforts to isolate the island nation as it seeks an enhanced role in regional initiatives.
民国海巡署100多年广播，你现在已经严重破坏地域和平。
Positioned strategically in vital shipping lanes, Taiwan assumes a central role in influencing trade and military movements, introducing a potential domino effect where any instability involving Taiwan could reverberate into the South China Sea and trigger regional conflicts due to interconnected claims and alliances. Beyond its geopolitical significance, Taiwan's standing as a technological powerhouse, particularly in advanced semiconductor manufacturing, amplifies its global importance. Despite challenges, Taiwan's strategic location, technological prowess, and potential alliances offer a more stable and balanced future in the region. The United States assumes a central role in the South China Sea, employing a strategy that combines freedom of navigation, phone-op operations along with substantial military presence. Regular phone-op operations, conducted in adherence to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, serves to challenge disputed claims, particularly those asserted by China. Simultaneously, the U.S. maintains a robust military footprint, deploying significant forces across key locations in the Indo-Pacific, including the South China Sea, with approximately 70,000 troops stationed strategically in locations such as Japan, South Korea, and Guam, coupled with the deployment of aircraft carriers, submarines, and fighter jets. This military posture aims at deterring potential Chinese aggression and reassuring regional allies, exemplified through joint military exercises with partners like the Philippines and Japan. Nevertheless, the U.S. faces challenges inherent in its approach, notably the elevated risks associated with frequent phone-op operations and close encounters with Chinese military assets. The potential for miscalculations and unintended conflicts in the volatile region poses concerns that demand careful handling of associated complexities. The power dynamics in South China Sea region are shaped by three key factors. Firstly, military strength emerges as a critical determinant, with China standing out for boasting the largest navy in Asia, marked by its expansive fleet encompassing submarines, destroyers, and aircraft carriers. The United States, though maintaining a significant naval presence, faces a challenge from China's numerical advantage. China's strategic island-building activities, particularly in the disputed Paracel and Spratly Islands, further amplify its military influence, providing bases for surveillance, potential operations, and control over vital shipping lanes. Secondly, economic influence, driven by control over trade routes and resource extraction, significantly shapes the region's power dynamics. The South China Sea, facilitating over $3 trillion worth of annual trade, becomes a locus of economic leverage. The pursuit of rich deposits of oil, gas, and minerals fuels competition among stakeholders, particularly evident in China's assertive resource extraction activities. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a cornerstone of China's economic strategy, bolsters its influence by fostering infrastructure and trade links in the region. Lastly, international law and diplomacy play a crucial role, with UNCLOS providing a legal framework for territorial claims. Despite its recognized importance, the lack of enforceability and China's resistance to certain provisions hinder the resolution of disputes. Diplomatic efforts, such as ASEAN's attempts to establish a binding code of conduct, reflect the ongoing struggle for these complex geopolitical waters, while maintaining stability through back-channel diplomacy and confidence-building measures. Examples, including the Philippines' 2016 arbitration victory and recurring tensions between Vietnam and China, underscore the volatile nature of the South China Sea and the challenges inherent in finding a lasting solution. The unresolved power dynamics in the South China Sea present a precarious scenario with consequences, echoing far beyond the region's borders. At the forefront is the looming specter of military conflict, fueled by frequent close encounters, heightened militarization, and nationalist rhetoric. The risks of accidents and unintended clashes in this volatile environment are compounded by China's island-building endeavors and strategic outposts, creating potential flashpoints. A regional conflict involving major powers like China, the United States, and Japan would not only disrupt global trade routes, but could escalate into a broader war. The economic fallout extends to trade disruptions, shipping delays, and shortages, significantly impacting global supply chains with potential repercussions for inflation and financial market volatility. Moreover, the environmental toll of increased military presence, unsustainable resource extraction, and island-building activities poses a threat to marine ecosystems and biodiversity, with lasting consequences for coastal communities and the broader health of the marine environment. Mitigating these potential catastrophes requires a concerted effort focused on several fronts. A peaceful resolution of territorial disputes, grounded in a rules-based approach like UNCLOS and fostered through multilateral negotiations, stands as a fundamental imperative. Simultaneously, the de-escalation of military tensions demands confidence-building measures, transparency, and open communication to minimize the risk of conflict. The question of dominance in the South China Sea remains a challenged aspect of geopolitical discourse. While China asserts a significant presence through expansive territorial claims and military might, the dynamics of South China Sea involve multiple stakeholders, including the United States, Southeast Asian nations, and Taiwan.
历史将会永远地记住这一天。过去潜舰国造被认为是不可能的任务，但今天由国人自己设计打造的潜舰，就在大家的眼前，我们做到了。
The region's fate lies in the balance of diplomatic maneuvers, adherence to international law, and collaborative efforts to address economic, environmental, and security challenges. The South China Sea's ultimate trajectory will be shaped by ongoing dialogues, diplomatic resilience, and the shared responsibility of nations for a stable and prosperous future in this geopolitical hotspot.